Hi, this is David with EV World News, where we talk about electric vehicles, clean energy, and the stock markets. And I'm back today with our founder and chief editor, Bill Moore. How's it going, Bill?
Hey, going great. You like my nice shirt that makes the screen look all funny?
I don't think it makes the screen look funny.
Oh, okay. Well, what I'm seeing makes it kind of look. I don't know what. There's a term for this. I shouldn't have worn this shirt. I apologize. So
There's nothing wrong with it. I think it looks great,
okay. Bill. All right. Good.
Yeah. Let's see.
Moire, is it called a Moire effect? Something like that?
Oh,
That's what I'm seeing on my end. So,
the tennis courts at Miracle Hills inside are this bright red color. It was supposed to make, be like Nebraska red or whatever. And I think I'm going to have a seizure in there one day. I mean, it's so irritating for me to look at that it is very difficult. It offends my senses. And
can we? Do you want to talk about what we were talking about before?
Sure.
Live, just to give people a little.
We probably should use less colorful language.
Oh, okay.
Just because this is a family-oriented show.
That's right. That's right.
And no, we were discussing if a waste-to-energy project was done in Nebraska, we could use cow droppings or pig droppings or the stalks of corn, things like that to produce biofuels. Well, the interesting thing is my target customer is going to make bioplastics. So instead of making plastic from petroleum, we're going to make it from corn, basically.
Okay.
And they need 75 megawatts of electricity. Now, there's no way I'm going to get that much in droppings and corn. At least I don't think. I mean, maybe it's possible, but we at least
go talk to the governor. I understand he's got 8. I believe I found out the other day 8 hog farms.
Okay. Well, he might have a lot then.
Pillin might have just what you need.
We might be able to get a contribution from a politician.
Among all the other stuff they shovel, right?
Right. But he doesn't need our money. He doesn't need contributions.
Oh. No, he has a multi-billionaire backer. So I won't say anymore. Well, the deeper I get into this thing, the more.
I mean, isn't he one of the founders of Ameritrade?
I won't go into details of who I'm referring to. I'll leave it to your imagination.
Okay. Well, anyways.
By the way, do you know who built Ameritrade's first website?
You did.
I did.
Yeah. I know some of those. Well, I know at least one of the founders.
Yeah.
But I don't know Ricketts. But that's all right. I don't need to know our governor.
No. But Ricketts is the old governor. Ricketts is the senator for the time being. We'll see how that shakes out.
Oh, I get that mixed up. Yeah, you can tell how closely I follow our politics, right?
Well, yeah, you're a pretty international guy, so.
Yeah, it was funny yesterday. I was wishing a lot of people a happy Ugadi, and they were like really
happy
shocked.
What?
Ugadi. It's New Year's. Yesterday was New Year's Day in certain parts of the world. The funny thing is, I don't even think Yogi celebrates Ugadi because he's from the wrong part of India. So the Telugu people of India celebrate Ugadi.
Who people?
The Telugu. That's Andhra Pradesh and Telangana.
Oh, okay, in the south then.
Yeah. So think Hyderabad and Vizag are the main cities in those two provinces.
Bangalore?
Nah, that's
not. Well, there's a Bangalore. Anyway, there's one in the south. I think they've changed the name. But anyway, Pondicherry. I think it's Pondicherry down there, something like that.
I try to stay up on all of the holidays over there.
Anyway, good.
Yeah. Let's start out. Let's talk a little bit about Uber, because this is a pretty big deal. I mean,
Uber's
done some things, made some commitments with Tesla, but now Uber has invested $1.25 billion in Rivian for robotaxi fleet. Now, this is interesting because Rivian's had big corporate dollars from Amazon. and obviously the Rivian electrified most of Tesla's fleet, and then he does do Ugadi. Okay,
Okay.
no, that's why I didn't wish you a happy Ugadi yesterday. So happy Ugadi, because I wasn't sure if it was because I knew you didn't speak Telugu, and I was thinking it was only people who spoke Telugu who celebrate. So it was all Hindus. Okay, and anyways, but because one of the family offices I support, they're Punjabis, and they don't celebrate it.
See, our friend Dave here. This is an international guy.
Yeah. So, anyways, but Uber will deploy 10,000 fully autonomous Rivian R2 SUVs as robotaxi starting in 2028. Now that's an initial package. It's almost as big as what
Amazon
the Rivian
did,
vans. I'm sure it's bigger. The Rivian vans are larger. Yes. Rip Chuck Norris. I saw that he died at age 86.
Oh, wow.
And it seemed like that guy was gonna cheat death. Yeah, people feel free to put Chuck Norris jokes in the chat. They never get old. He
does, but the jokes don't. Is that it?
Right. Yeah. Let me see. So that there's an option for 40,000 more by 2030. Now, Amazon started out with about 9 or 10,000 Rivian vans. I think they're up to about 35,000 now, and that whole order is 100 grand, or 100,000.
100,000,
yeah, and that's a lot of Rivian vans, and they're cranking them out. But now they've got another corporate customer, that's come along
for the new vehicle.
Yeah, for the new vehicle.
Yeah. Now I wonder, do they? I didn't. Like I said, I've been sort of distracted the last few days. Are they going to be incorporating LiDAR into those, or are they just doing vision based?
I bet they're going to do LiDAR.
I would think.
Yeah, but I was going to say, so of the 1.25 billion, I think they're getting 300 million this year. So I think they're being advanced like a fourth of it. And anyways, this is a big game changer for Rivian because this provides more capital.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Commercial partner. Yes. Now, Rivian says it won't hit adjusted profitability until 2028, which is true. But still, it's a big deal knowing that's,
Well, now you've got Uber, you've got Amazon, you have Volkswagen.
Yes.
So that's some pretty serious financial support and technical support too for them.
Let me see. The R2 robotaxis will be exclusive to Uber's platform in 25 cities across the US, Canada, and Europe by 2031, starting with San Francisco and Miami. Okay. Well, I thought this was, we always keep saying we think don't bet against Rivian, but look at that. Their stock's down 6.85% today. I think the stock market's taking a beating overall, though.
Yeah, well, no wonder we've gotten ourselves into a mess in the Persian Gulf that we haven't figured out how the hell to get out of.
Yeah. I have my ideas on how I would do that. I mean, I don't know about taking Karga Island, but I would certainly occupy the coast, because if you occupied the coast near there,
then you got boots on the ground and you got Americans coming back in body bags.
Yeah, I know it's not a good look.
No,
but then you could arm the resistance.
Well, I mean, this is what they should. We talked about this before. If they were going to want to regime change in Iran, they should have started doing the same thing they did in Afghanistan, arm the Mujahid with the Russians, right? When they wanted to throw the Russians out of Afghanistan, you arm the Mujahideen, you give them Stinger missiles and they shoot down, because the populists were completely out. There were no guns. You can't have guns in Afghanistan, or I'm sorry, in Iran. Only the guard and the army and police, obviously. all the servants of the mullahs got guns and everybody else is unarmed. How are you going to resist that?
Yeah, I love sometimes seeing some of the crazy stuff that people post on like Quora, where people are showing like weapons that they confiscated in some of the Middle Eastern wars, and where they'd found muskets, they'd found Vickers machine guns, then they'd find some like um, German stuff that was pretty rare even in World War II, MP40s and things like
Oh
that.
yeah,
Yeah, and it just it's just kind of funny. Okay, we don't need some of this commentary in the
Nope,
chat.
I'm taking care of it right now. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay. Yeah, we appreciate the views, and we like people, in the chat and all that. We like the feedback, but
those kind of comments are not helpful and inappropriate for what we talk about generally.
Yeah.
So.
But anyways, we're on to what was revealed at the South by Southwest. This happened, actually, this is like a week ago, but Rivian unveiled the full R2 lineup with pricing, a performance trim starting at $57,990 with 656 horsepower on the R2, 0 to 60 in 3.6.
Oh, wow.
A premium version at $53,990 and the base model coming later at a starting price of only $45,000. Well, let's hope they're actually able to deliver that one at $45,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Where Tesla has missed the mark a bunch of times on some of their.
Oh, did you see that they're planning to finally introduce the second generation Roadster? There we go. I was going to say Roadster.
Really?
Yeah,
it's finally going to come out.
I think next month. Yeah, maybe next month. I think
that they're going to do a reveal, or
whatever that means, right?
Okay. Yeah. Well, hopefully
it can mean many different things to Tesla and to Elon Musk.
EV Auto and Salt Lake City is doing a thing now, and you can go on their website. They're going to give an old one away. They took one in as a trade, and they're doing a whatchamacallit. They're doing a giveaway, a sweepstakes.
Yeah.
And
Well, we have a gentleman here in Nebraska that has got one of the very earliest models. So
it's one of these ones where you can sign up for free and you can get additional entries by buying a hat or a shirt or something.
Right.
Yeah. But anyways, the first deliveries of the performance variant begin this spring. So we're talking here in the next month or two. This is crucial for Rivian's survival as a company. A configurator went live on March 12th, meaning real orders are happening now. So you can go on the Rivian website and you can try to configure your Rivian. I'm looking for it right now.
Okay.
I'm looking for the configurator. Let's see here.
And while Dave's looking at the configurator, I've been on the Southwest Power Pool website trying to understand that. So right now, just if you're curious, we're at a little over 13% is wind power. Combine that with nuclear and hydro, and we're about 25%. Our energy is zero carbon. So.
Well, the wind isn't blowing very hard today.
No, we're just in the middle of that heat wave. So
let's see. See here, you can drive it with your dog's head out the back, and he's not sucking in that exhaust from a gas-powered car.
Yep. Or you're not intoxicated. You're not poisoning yourself with your own carbon monoxide. So
let's see. Oh, did it change? Oh, it didn't change. Oh, hold on. I got to do this again.
Well, I'll look forward to when they put them out on lease and they come off of lease after next 3 years or so, and then maybe I can afford one.
Premium. Oh, let's go all the way. We want a performance here. What color do we want, Bill? Oh, we don't want purple. Purple doesn't look good in Nebraska.
My wife would go for the green.
They got two different greens.
She would go with the, I'd say the lighter green.
Yeah. Looks like we're going with white, Bill.
Well, hey, I like white. That's what my my Bolt is. So
let's see. Yeah, nice looking, but there wasn't much of a configurator here. Well, anyways, it's up here. I guess I could reserve one. Let's see.
See, this would be great if I were living out in Washington State and I wanted to get out into the mountains and hunt for Bigfoot or magic mushrooms or, pan for gold, things like that. This would be a great vehicle for that.
Oh, or only $100 deposit. That's not a big deposit.
Oh no! What must typically ask 500 or more generally?
Well, I guess he wants serious people, right?
Yeah.
But still doesn't mean people are going to close on it, right?
No. Well, we found out with the Cybertruck, didn't we?
Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So that's out there. Let me see. And more. We'll switch over to Tesla Robotaxi news. So. Musk claims Tesla will have a widespread robotaxi network across the U.S. by the end of 26, but currently only operating in Austin with Model Y vehicles.
And only one of those has been reported is actually doesn't have a safety driver with them. All the rest still are operating with the safety driver.
Or maybe what happened was that wasn't
safety monitors.
And the guy just decided to jump out of the car and go do something else while the car did its thing, right? Cybercab production reportedly starting in April of 26 with sightings all over Austin. Critical date was March 9th when Tesla had to deliver crash data, could determine regulatory approval path. All right, let's switch over to nuclear energy.
Oh, Meta, of course, your favorite subject.
Yes. Meta goes all in on nuclear, 6.6 gigawatts of deals for AI data centers. Meta signed 3 massive nuclear deals with Oklo, TerraPower, and Vistra, totaling 6.6 gigawatts by 2035 to power its Prometheus AI supercluster in Ohio. Okay, now to put this in perspective, now a gigawatt will usually do about 500,000 homes, roughly.
Okay, so basically
3.3 million homes.
Omaha area.
Oh, yeah, for a gigawatt. Yeah, right. This is 6.6 of those.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a massive amount of energy. Now, to put this in perspective, I've seen 2 data center projects, one in Texas and one in Virginia. I was talking about this on the show a couple of days ago, that the one in Virginia, they're expecting it to increase carbon emissions from the grid by 40%.
Because a lot of it's coming from fossil fuels, I gather.
It's all LNG.
Yeah.
I mean, the beauty of LNG is if you can get the burners, all you got to do is turn it on if you can get a pipeline ran out there.
Yeah.
Right. And I get that. But I was telling Bill, I'm dealing with the data center. And when you go to their website, everything's pictures of solar panels. Okay. And then, they're just like, yeah, I love solar. Don't get me wrong. Okay. And I made some comments on the show before about residential solar being a bit of a scam just because of the way it's sold. It's not because it's not a good thing for you.
And by the way, I think, Dave, don't you have solar?
I do have solar.
Yeah.
So I do. I have 16 kilowatt system. I mean, I have a lot of solar. Yeah. But it doesn't really perform the way I'd like. Okay. But you have issues with the solar dream to a certain degree of complete independence, because even with all the batteries you could possibly want, you still have times of the year where the sun's not up long enough to provide enough power, or it's weaker in the wintertime kind of thing with the short days. And in the summer, when you're using it the most, because you have longer days and more energy coming from the sun at that time of the year, you have the issue of it's hotter out, and so you're having to cool everything more. And
Right.
so,
And as the panels heat up, they don't generate as much energy either.
yeah. So,
The heating of the skin affects them.
yeah. So there's issues with efficiency, but every one of these data centers has pictures of solar farms. And
Right.
the truth is, most of them are intending to get 5 to 10% of their overall power needs for the year from solar, but they're showing that they're all doing something green. And I was telling Bill before I came on the call, I was talking to a data center about supplying them with waste to energy. But this data center is looking at, but so like this one's 6.6 gigawatts. You know, it's crazy. Mike, our engineer that comes on Wednesdays, he was saying it used to be when you talk about somebody doing a big power project, it'd be like 2 megawatts. Now we're talking gigawatts. That's 1,000 times the size. It's ridiculous how much this has changed. And this is really even since you and I started doing the show together.
Oh yeah.
This wasn't the case 3 years ago.
No.
And you know, this has just really gotten out of hand. And anyways, but you know, we're like, hey, we can convert trash in Florida into energy, and we can be competitively priced. And you know, they need every bit of energy they can get.
Yeah.
The beauty of it is, my project has transmission lines because we own a steel, an old steel mill.
Okay.
And so it has it, and all we do, we export or we distribute granite to the state around the state of Florida from this location. So granite countertops. So we don't need
okay.
we don't need the electricity, but we have the infrastructure for it. So anyway,
interesting. Okay.
yeah, we have. Yeah, it was funny. We've talked about maybe mining Bitcoin at that location because we have the infrastructure for mining.
Yeah, that's not at the moment not a particularly, from what I understand, not particularly as lucrative as it once was. Let's put it that way.
It's not.
Yeah,
it's not. Anyways, but what and sometimes it's hard to wrap my head around some of this, but this is the biggest. Meta is the most significant corporate purchaser of nuclear energy in American history. And
who would have thought some college kid with a book called that website called Facebook. Wasn't what it was called originally anyway, was it?
No, but it was something similar. It was Face.
Right.
Yeah. And
I think it was the Facebook.
The Facebook.
Yeah, I think it was the Facebook. Yeah. And basically, it was just a page for guys to rate co-eds, right? He says, "You think she's pretty? No. Yes. No. You know."
Oh God.
Well, yeah, I think that's what it originally was.
That's pretty funny. I didn't know that. But yeah, so it includes extending the life of existing plants at Perry, Davis-Besse in Ohio, Beaver Valley in Pennsylvania, plus building new advanced reactors. I mean, we were talking a couple days ago about this thing about trying to squeeze more energy out of older nuclear reactors,
right?
Doing something to upgrade them so they produce more. But I'm just saying this is pretty big, but it's still not as big as the big LNG ones. And AI is just requiring insane amounts of energy. And it's funny too, in the waste energy space, they're in kind of that same boat. They usually talk about 2 megawatts to 10 megawatts. And now people are trying to talk about 100 to 300 megawatts. I know one of the investment bankers I work with says, could we just do waste to energy in 10 megawatt chunks? I think I could get investors to believe that.
Yeah.
Because it just seems so outrageous to think of doing that much trash. And it's not just trash. So waste to energy doesn't necessarily have to be, most of it's the gasification of trash. So people pay to dump loads of trash in the landfill. And so these waste to energy companies They usually set up at the landfill. They take what are called tipping fees for dumping the trash.
Right.
But then they create, they sort the trash out and they burn it or do other things to turn it into either diesel, aviation fuel,
Right.
LNG. They're able to construct it into usable fossil fuels that have
Right.
lower emissions.
Well, so much of that waste is plastic anyway, so it's just
Right.
recapturing the polymers and reformulating the polymers into something that resembles crude.
Yeah. But once again, just like the solar piece of all of these, where I'm saying these data centers are using 5 to 10% solar, if we could get them to use 5 to 10%, recycled materials as fuel, it's helping other purposes, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's simply substituting in because it's being burned by the same, or it could potentially be burned by the same gas turbines or reciprocating engines that are used to generate energy.
All right.
All right. So now let's talk about our why your electricity bill is skyrocketing. So U.S. electricity prices are up 5% year over year, with some regions seeing 10% hikes. But it's not because of the reduction of renewables. It has to do with the century-old regulatory model that rewards utilities for spending more, not performing better. They profit from capital expenditures. Data centers, electrification, the aging grid are driving massive investment needs. But without regulatory reform, consumers will keep paying the price. It's wild when I talk about how much I've learned about energy math doing the show with you, and how people talk about, well, we can make electricity for this price over here, and it's like, well, how do you make it there, but you can't sell it for that, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
well, yeah, before we came on, while I was waiting for you, I thought, you know what, let's see how much energy. I like to do this, right, in the past. How much energy is being produced as you and I speak and do this show here in the Midwest? How much is being produced by wind? And as I said earlier, it's about a little over 13% at the moment. But while I was waiting, I got to digging in and saying, now, what does all this mean? Because if you go over to the spp.org, southwestpowerpool.org website, you get these beautiful charts and maps and pie charts and things. But what does that all mean? I've looked at that, and for several years now, and I never understood what a lot of it meant. So I thought, I'm going to figure it out. So with the help of AI, giving me, tutoring me, I finally kind of understand a little better about how that works. And what's interesting is that when they go with what I think they call the marginal generator, and interestingly, the marginal generator is the one that sets the price for that particular pricing window. And if it's day ahead, it's on a certain schedule. If it's time of demand time, that's a different price schedule. And so how does all that work and fit together? So I'm beginning to sort of understand how all of that works. And interesting, the most cost effective source of power for our region is wind.
mm-hmm.
The most expensive is gas turbine peaker plants.
Well, by far.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of an extreme, but of the ones that are normally functioning, what would be the highest, do you think?
Oh, normally functioning would probably be the just regular gas turbines, not the peaker plants, but the normal gas turbines. And then coal is right up there. I think it's at this point, it's the peakers are the most expensive because they're there on demand and the cost of the fuel and things like that. Coal is right up in that same category of being expensive. So if you're going to rate them, that what they do is they will bring online wind first, then nuclear, then hydro, then natural gas, then coal, and then finally peakers is how they stack them, is the term they use. And interestingly, the last one to come in has to do with how much demand is there. If there's not a lot of demand on the grid, The peaker guys are left out, and the natural gas guys are left out. And so, like we had last week, we had 73% of all of our power on our grid is coming from wind, right?
Mhm.
Well, today, 30% of it's coming from natural gas, right around 38% natural gas, 30% from coal, and the wind slice of the pie is under 14%. All depends on what the demand is and where the bottlenecks are. But the last one to come in that price is set, becomes the price for everybody. So if they have to bring in the peaker guys, the most expensive, everybody gets paid that price, which is really, it's just fascinating how the economics of this thing work out and how it gets dispatched, when they get paid, that type of thing. It's interesting. So we're both learning, Dave, as we go along.
No, there's no question. And it always seems like there's something new in the space. Let's see. We talked a little bit yesterday about this LB 1010, the Nebraska thing. It's the battery storage bill. This bill is creating a legal framework for privately financed grid scale battery storage.
Yeah.
We've got this. Nebraska has this public power monopoly at the state level, right?
Yes.
And
exactly.
so that's. I mean, when I lived in Tennessee, the local utility obviously had it for at least our county, but it was just the one county.
Right, but then in Tennessee, you also have the Tennessee Valley Authority, which is a federally run entity, and so it's kind of like what we have here, except ours is a state level.
TVA is huge. It services, I think, 7 states.
Oh yeah, it's Tennessee Valley Authority is immense.
I think it has at least 3 nuclear power plants in it.
And lots of hydro.
Yeah, lots of hydro.
Yeah, they took in Tennessee TVA. Yeah, back in the Depression era, that was one of the Roosevelt things to stimulate the economy, create jobs, was to create the TVA and to build all these hydroelectric dams, which meant that a lot of the towns and historic sites that were down in the valleys are lost now. They're underwater behind these big dams.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's see. All right. Well, I don't know what oil is at today. Oil prices spiked to 100 to 120. I wonder what the price is.
I think I said it was somewhere around 111 I saw yesterday, 115, something like that.
Now, let's see. What's today's price?
And by the way, if you're interested, there's a really good web site channel online that's called something like What's Happening in Shipping, which I follow now on a daily basis just to simply keep track of what's happening with the movement of ships globally. But right now, obviously, most of the focus is on what's happening in the Arabian Sea and in the Persian Gulf area.
So they spiked to 119 a barrel, but some of it has dropped back down. Brent crude's 108 to 111. West Texas Intermediate is $96 to $98 a barrel. Yeah. So we released some of our strategic reserves to keep the price down.
And others have done the same thing. They've and brilliantly, we're removing it's not the embargo, but whatever the term is, on Russian oil sanctions. Mm-hmm. We're removing the sanctions on Russian oil, and we're removing the sanctions on Iranian oil. So we're bombing the crap out of these people, but we're letting the Iranians dictate who can go through the straits, right? They've already set up a system, and there's a handful of ships, but at this moment, there are 3,000 cargo ships, and that's everything from bulk carriers to LNG to guys carrying the big containers and things. 3,000 of them bottled up inside of the Persian Gulf, and they're starting to now run out of fresh water and food for their crews, and and the ports don't want them to come in, because that becomes a target then for for the Iranians to send whatever missile, that they might have, drones and things. Yeah. So yeah, if you want to, I think it's called "What's Happening in Shipping." Really good, knowledgeable. I can't pronounce the guy's Cogliamai or something. He's an Italian guy, but very, very knowledgeable mariner who's got this channel.
So, EVs avoid 2.3 million barrels of oil.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
That impact is steadily growing. Oil shock generally produces renewed EV interest. Well, this may be short-lived, but if it goes on for very long, it certainly will.
So China, which gets most or much of their oil for their economy and obviously for their cars, comes out of the Persian Gulf, right? Mm-hmm. But because over the years, so many of their people have bought EVs, they are not quite as, they're going to be dependent because so much of our society is still based on petroleum, but they are less so than Americans. But of course, we have the advantage that we've got, all the large oil offshore and onshore oil resources that we've enjoyed for, 90 years, something like that.
Right.
So we're not as necessarily, but what happens is because everybody else is dependent on the flow of oil out of the Persian Gulf, that means the demand for American crude goes up. And if you're an oil company, who are you going to sell it to? Somebody that wants to buy it at $50, $60, $70 a barrel, or somebody who wants to pay $119 a barrel?
Yeah, well, the Saudis, I saw something where the Saudis are saying they think it could go to 180. That would be just nuts.
Oh, I saw there was one. The one guy was warning it's going to go to 200. We're going to make sure it does.
Yeah. So one thing here, let's go back to energy math, right?
Right.
So a barrel of oil,
55 gallons.
Yeah. So it's roughly $2 a gallon as crude, and it could double to $4 a gallon as crude. Okay. But what that would mean is it doesn't necessarily double your gas price. It would make it go from $2, it would increase it by about $2. Okay. Which is huge. That's a huge cost difference for people. But I'm just saying that if you're in California where it's already like $6, it's not going to go to 12. It's going to go to 8.
Yeah. My daughter right now, I think my wife was telling me last night, she's paying somewhere in the neighborhood of $6 a gallon now out in Seattle.
Yeah. Seattle's kind of the same way. I don't think they're quite as expensive as California, but I'm just saying it's going to make it go up $2, not, double. So that is one thing. If it goes up to $150 a gallon, it's basically adding $1. So I'm just saying it's not as catastrophic as people will say, well, gas prices are doubling. It's like, well, not exactly. It's just like when we talked about how Canada threatened to increase the price of hydroelectric they sell to New York State from 4 cents to 5 cents, and how that was people were saying, oh, it's going to increase electric bills by like $400. It's like, no, it's not. It's going to increase your cost of electric by 1 cent. It's going to increase it 4%. So unless you were already paying $400 for your electric bill, and even then it would increase it by basically $16, right? So it wasn't like it was going up quite so dramatically. We had this article from a few days ago that we discussed it a little bit. So the EU has a 1.2 trillion euro grid package. And so they're Europe still is dependent on Russian gas. They've been trying to get rid of it, they're having to rely on the US for LNG, but they also have 10 to 15% of their LNG passing through the Strait of Hormuz. So,
or
was, yeah. They aim to speed grid build-out, boost cross-border links, and reduce fossil imports through faster permitting. I've seen some arguments, some anti-nuclear arguments, about the fact that, well, Russia and Ukraine have put Ukraine's nuclear reactors, in harm's way, right? And that nuclear could be targeted. And that's one of the things about the advanced nuclear or generation 4 nuclear. It's designed so it can't go into a meltdown situation. And so attacking it really wouldn't do a whole lot. But on the old stuff, the old generation 2 and the 3 light water reactors, it could do some damage. It could really cause some problems. Anyways, Bill, that's all I had to cover today.
Well, that. We've covered plenty of ground. I hope people have found it of value. I am not a nuclear expert. I'm not even an automotive expert. I'm just a guy that dabbles, for want of a better term. And so I hope it's helpful. We appreciate the comments. Most of the comments, the one gentleman I decided was not contributing positively to the discussion. So thanks for everybody tuning in, and we'll see you. I'll see you next Tuesday. So.
All right, great. All right, everybody have a great weekend. Thanks for watching.